all for coming along to the natural ink making workshop. And it's lovely to see all your faces. Obviously, it would have been really lovely to have you all in the studio and all of us been doing this together. But I think this is probably the next best thing. And all of us at least see everyone together. And it's nice that we're all at home doing it as well. So how did everyone get on foraging? I hope you all managed to do it, and I hope the video helped as well, and you didn't find it too confusing or anything. But I don't know, I always find it a really nice therapeutic sort of stage of the workshop, and it's a real shame. I think that's the nice bit of doing it all together, is the foraging part, and I think that's the bit that is a shame that we didn't get to do. But did you all get on okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did any of you come across some like lovely pieces or?
Well, my mum went out on a walk the other day and found some oak galls. So I've got a bunch of oak galls, which I'm really excited about.
Nice. Yeah.
And I've got some ivy berries and different types of ivy leaves as well. So
perfect. Okay, cool. With the ivy berries, just be careful because I think they are poisonous. So if you're using pans that you cook with, just scrub them down after. Nice one. Cool. Well, how about anyone else?
I found some really nice lichen.
You found what, sorry?
I found some lichen, like some bright green lichen that grows on trees. I'm not sure what it will be good for, but I was excited to find it.
Oh, what does that look like?
Well, at the moment, I stuck it in a whole bag of other green stuff, but it kind of looks like a little mossy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that goes.
It's like that.
Nice. Okay, cool. Oh, Martha, what's that?
I think I got the same. I got some lichen as well.
Oh, okay.
I found some like rusty, like copper bits as well. And
that in with something else.
Yeah, and then I also found some like mushroom, like fungusy thing. I don't know if it will do anything, but it was white, so it might not. And I've got like some beetroot.
Oh, yay!
One that got eaten in our garden, but I thought it might come up.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, that should do really well. If what I've found is everything that I usually keep everything like simmering for, I usually do for about an hour, sort of minimum. And then that's when you'll see the colour changing really dramatically.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you all saw the worksheets that I sent over, but honestly, you don't need to print those off. It was just so you guys can sort of have an understanding of how I keep track of everything. But did you all manage to get hold of some salt and some white wine vinegar or anything?
Yeah.
Amazing, perfect. That's your basis really of the ink making.
I also got this gum arabic.
Yeah.
I've got these. Are these poisonous? These red little berries.
Oh, I can't.
These are not berries. They're like.
I'm not sure.
Most berries are poisonous.
Most are. But as long as you don't eat them and you don't inhale them.
And I also got these like yellow little flowers.
Yeah. Oh, they're really lovely.
Yeah,
they're very vibrant.
These leaves, which are like red and green.
Yeah, perfect.
And then I just got these as well. They're like like dark blue. I don't know whether this is poisonous or not. And then I just picked one rose flower.
Lovely.
From the garden. I don't know. I got three rose birds in my garden in January.
Oh,
which is amazing. I just got one. And this is just like the hedge, the garden hedge. Yeah.
We'll see what you can get from it. This is all sort of a little bit of an experiment. So some things are renowned for giving you lots of pigment and lots of colour. But I think your aim is today to just try and extract as much pigment from whatever you've picked as possible. So whether, that's chopping it up or mashing it up with like a potato masher, or you know, whatever you've got. That's what you're aiming for. And the salt and the vinegar that you've got is going to help. So the salt will help bind it and preserve your inks. The vinegar will help change the pH levels as well. And it's just really good to sort of note down how much you're putting in it. So on those sheets that I sent over to you, that's what that is really, is just jotting everything down. So I always make a note of what it is that I've foraged, how much of everything that I put into it is. And then as soon as I pop everything in the pan, I cover it with water and then a little bit more. I then put everything into it, so like a tablespoon of salt, a tablespoon of vinegar, and then I start simmering it. And then I'll start painting from the pan. I'll just dip my paintbrush in and just start painting it after like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, and then you can see the colour develop. And it's as soon as you start to boil it down and get it really reduced, you'll get it down to about enough, like this. Can you see that? That it's enough that you want as an ink, you know, because you don't need a lot for ink. And I've got these lovely little jars as well, little pipette bottles that I pop them in too. I've got some examples here of ones that I've done previously, so you can see how they change over time. This one is beetroot offcuts, but that's candied beetroot, so your beetroot will be different, definitely. This is red cabbage. These are stinging nettles down here, and you've got sloe berries as well, but obviously this is a different season now. Got some moss and red berries and blackberries. But you'll notice, like, as things go, it might, as soon as you paint it on the page, it will dry a really different colour. So it's really interesting to see how it will go. And once you pop the vinegar in, again, it might change the colour drastically again. So it's just really interesting to see how it goes. And just keep going with it, just keep sort of mashing everything up and just releasing all of those pigments out of everything that you've foraged, and just keep going. And any questions along the way, just fire them at me, because I'm going to be doing it with you as well. And yesterday I had some bark and some camellias and some ivy berries, and that's what we did yesterday. And then these are the sort of inks that we had going on as well, and everyone else produced their own too. So I'm hoping that you guys are going to get a really good range of everything today. But just fire questions as we go, and we'll help each other along the way. But so first things first is just everything that you've foraged, get all of your pans on the hobs. I don't know if you just want to start off with one pan or two, or however many you've got, and just pop everything that you've foraged and just place it straight into your pan. So if you've got quite a lot of one thing, just pop it all in there, as much as you've got, and just basically as many as you want going on, really. And then if you've got the salt and the vinegar there, perfect. And just make sure you've got everything here. So I've got a jug at the ready, I've got my paintbrush, and then I've got a thing here with all of my utensils as well. So I'm all ready to go.
Your video's not working. Hello?
Am I not here?
Well, you can hear your voice, but
I
can't
can see you.
Really? What, moving?
I can see you as well.
Yeah, your video is fine for me, and
Oh, okay,
audio is
good.
fine. Yeah.
Can everyone else? Is it just Nikki who can't?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, all right.
I've had bad luck with internet for the last I don't know how long, so that's a shame.
Can you hear and see me now, Nikki?
I can't see you, I can hear you.
Okay, well, I'm talking everything through, so hopefully that's all good. You might want to sort of leave and then join back in, Nikki. That might help.
Sure. Can I just ask, is seaweed any? Can you see me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Seaweed any good?
Seaweed, well, I've never tried it, but absolutely give it a go.
What, green and brown?
Fantastic. Why not? Yeah, you're not losing out on anything, are you?
No.
Hi, Ella.
Sorry?
Hi. I just wanted to ask if these berries are poisonous and I use my pan, if I wash the pan fine, that would be all right?
Yeah, if you give it a really good scrub.
Really good, yeah.
Thoroughly
good wash, yeah?
wash it. I would never sort of advise using anything poisonous. But if
I'll just throw them then. I'll just
Yeah.
throw them. Yeah. Okay. I'll just use the rest of the stuff. So
Cool.
are
perfect. So
we putting pan?
So in here, I've got pine cones that I've sort of crushed up, and so I've cut these up into really small pieces. So I'm getting as much pigment out of that as possible. Can you all see that?
No.
Perfect. And then
can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
When we're putting stuff in our pans, should we put only like one like load of something, so like only nettles, or should we like try mixing things together, or should we just start off with one thing and try adding more things? Like, what should be like our base?
I always do one thing at one time, because then if I want to try and recreate a colour that's slightly similar, then I can always go back and try and do it, although it will never be the same. But if you want to mix things up and go and do that, then that's absolutely fine as well.
Okay, thank
This
you.
is your experiment. You sort of take the lead with this.
Thank you.
And then in here I've got camellias, so I've got bright pink petals in there. I've also got some bright red leaves here, so I'm going to be using those. And I've also got some really green leaves here with an underside there as well, so I'm going to be using those too. All right, so get your kettle boiled, pour some hot water over everything that you've foraged, and get that nice and hot. Get a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of vinegar in each, and then bring everything up to the boil. But just keep it at a nice slow simmer, and just make sure that there's everything, that there's enough water in there, but not too much. You don't want to not have enough water that it's going to sort of burn out really quickly. You want there to be enough water to cover everything that you've got in there, and then a little bit extra, so then it will keep going for at least an hour. Does that make sense? Yeah, you'll figure it out as you go. You can always add more water as you go, but obviously you don't want to have too much. All right.
Does it matter the kind of vinegar you use?
I use white wine vinegar. If you don't have that, I've never used malt vinegar before. I don't know, but hey, it just changes the pH level, so I don't think it would matter too much.
I've got just common garden white vinegar.
Okay, give it a go.
I've got some red wine vinegar. I have no idea whether that will work. Do you think that'll be okay?
That might change the colour of it, that's all.
Oh yeah, okay.
Hi, Ella.
Yes, sorry, I'm just putting this up, sorry.
Wondering, I've got some bits of iron.
Yeah.
We used to about last time making the ink with the iron, but adding that to another ingredient.
I would, yes. I would add that into something else that you've foraged, because it could change the colour. It usually gives like a grey tinge to it.
Right. Oh, is that all? Right.
No,
Yeah.
but it's cool. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's
That's a
good.
bit negative grey, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's lovely.
And I've got some ivy, because again, I was a bit concerned about touching the ivy if it's poisonous.
Because some
So I
ivy
ended up-
is poisonous and some isn't.
Right. How do we know? I'd have to look at a book, I guess.
Yeah, I was saying this to the other group. I always have my phone on me, and I'm on my camera. You can like touch your camera, and it comes up with what the plant is and things. It brings it up on Google. But there are apps that you can download where you can sort of take a photo of what you're looking at, and it will ping up on the app. And it will give you all the information about it. So if you ever want to carry on with this, it might, if your camera doesn't do that, it might be worth downloading one of those apps.
Yeah, I was researching them, and I have been actually for ages and ages. You know, a really good, which is the best app that's free. But there are quite a lot out there, and then there are ones where they're seemingly free, but you've then got to pay to actually access the facilities that you want.
Right.
So I didn't know if you had any recommends on that.
So have you tried it on your camera? Does that not work?
What would I do? So I've got a leaf here, for example. Whoops. So I've got this ivy leaf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just put it down and then put my camera. So go to the camera. That's right.
So you would just, so if I've got this, gosh, juggling here. I've got that here. Keep my thumb down on it, and then it pops up here with lots of different things here. And then you can click on what it is.
Sure. Did you have your camera mode? Do you have to put the camera on, or do you just put the screen there? I suppose it's got to be the camera.
Yeah, pop your camera on, and then it will come up with the camera screen, and then you just click on the screen instead of actually taking a photo.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
Give it a go, yeah. If not, someone did mention about a app, bear with me, that they recommended yesterday.
Doesn't seemingly do it, but I would have thought my phone should. It's an iPhone.
Yeah.
What mode do you have it on? Photo?
Yeah.
Right.
I think it needs to have a certain iOS update. So it might depend how up to date like your phone's operating system is.
Right.
But I don't know. I haven't actually ever tried it on my phone, so but I know my sister has.
Okay. I mean, that would be nice. It'd be simple, wouldn't it? I mean, I've got that scan recognizery thing. I wonder if that would do it.
Sorry, can I just double check? I've got the stuff in, like I put the bark in the pan. Do I need to mash it up more, or?
Up to you. Yeah, I mean, what is it that you've put in there?
So I've just put like some bark, like bits of bark in there.
Yeah.
And then is it one tablespoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of vinegar?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I put the water in there, pop the vinegar and salt in there, and then I would get a potato masher and start like squeezing some of that pigment out of there.
And that's like when the water's in there, it's better to mash it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
That's all right. So one of the girls yesterday said about an app. I'm trying to forward it on to you guys, but it's not allowing me. Called Picture This.
Oh yes, I've heard of that. I don't know
So
if that one's free, but I'll have a look.
I'm not 100% sure, but that's one that she recommended. So it's definitely worth double checking.
Lovely. Thank you. Just seeing if this other thing does it. Is it?
Ella, did you say a tablespoon of salt?
Yes, yeah.
I've got some eucalyptus leaves as well. They're not totally fresh. I don't know if they'd be a bit feathery.
So I'm not sure how much pigment you'd get out of those, but
No.
it might be worth a go. They're not the brightest of colours, are they?
No.
But
You think ivy leaves would be better then?
I mean, I tried ivy leaves yesterday for the first time, and they didn't give me a lot. But you never know, it could well just be the colour that I picked, because some are darker and some are, you know,
Fresher.
yeah.
Yeah.
They aren't all the same, are they? So
No.
I forgot. I found some chestnuts.
Ooh.
Like little bits of chestnut. Have you ever tried those before?
I haven't, no. It might be quite good to sort of try and grind those up, or I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that could be quite good.
The beetroot already looks like really pink in the,
Does it?
don't
I
they?
bet it does. That's going to be cool, that one.
This is so fun.
Yeah, I know, I love it.
What before?
It's from a seed that you grew.
Yeah.
The thing I love about this as well is like how much you can change. So if you started picking, let's say you picked like loads of one thing,
Yeah.
you can then add, let's say, so much vinegar to it, and then that pH level would change so much.
Yeah.
You could start adding iron to it, and then that would change the colour.
Yeah.
Create like a whole colour palette just from one foraged item.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I love it.
The pH do then? Does it make it like lighter or?
So I found that it can do different things to different foraged items. So I picked some blackberries back a few months ago, and it was like a gorgeous, really deep purpley red colour.
Yeah.
And in the pan, and as soon as I added the purple to it, it changed to a blue.
Oh.
So it really
Oh, wow. So it just depends on the colour.
yeah, it just depends on what you've chosen, and then other things as well. It hasn't changed it at all. So I think it really depends what you've picked, and you know how it reacts with it as well. But yeah, and then if you find like other, you know, bits of copper and iron and things, you can sort of change it even more with those. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
My dad just wants to ask you something.
Hi. My sister used to gather lichens and boil them up in various concoctions to dye sort of wools and things.
Lovely, yeah.
And but I've I dug out her old book, and it's been talking about using ammonia to produce the orchil, the potent dye.
Yeah.
And of course that used to be, they used to keep their wee in a bottle to do that, but you obviously can get ammonia. But I didn't know if you'd ever used ammonia as an active sort of component to change. preparation.
Ammonia we use in our dye labs at the uni, on the textiles course, for dyeings of fabrics.
Ah, right.
So,
Yeah.
It's used. We use it quite a lot, but obviously not the natural source. Yes.
It's an old book. Thank you.
That's a good find, though. Good. Keep hold of that.
Am I right in thinking then that we're not meant to actually pick lichen because it's protected species?
Is it?
Really?
That's my
I think it
understanding.
depends on the lichen that you're going for, because there are about 2,000 species or types
Sure.
in the UK. So there are some that are protected and some that aren't.
I certainly would never rob a whole area. I just took little bits from here and there, but it was kind of abundant in the older hawthorn trees in amongst the branches there, and so there's a beautiful sort of feathery green one which I'm just trying to track down. But yeah, no, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, no, I shouldn't. I'll find out what we need to protect, because we're on the downs here, so there's probably protected species there I should be aware of.
Yes.
But
No,
I didn't
put a damp.
to the
I
mouth,
just-
only a tiny bit.
I was walking around.
Doris, I won't
with
be
my mum. She was only letting me take stuff that like the birds had already left. She was like, "Don't take it if you think the birds are gonna eat it."
Oh.
Yeah. I know. It's a bit like me.
I always feel a bit like that when you're foraging. I always like to take things that have already fallen on the floor.
Yeah.
I always feel a bit bad. Like I'm like, no.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the stuff we found was on the floor.
You ever tried like making woad and stuff?
I haven't. No, it's really because I've been foraging for things, and it's really hard to come by. Although my colleague, she was up in Devon. When was it? It was in between the two lockdowns, I think, and she found a field with woad in it, and she just literally was like coming back with it in the arms, and was like, right. So she was in her element. So she was naturally dyeing things with it. But I haven't found any to get hold of yet. I'm reluctant to buy things over the internet and things. I'd rather just find it and make things from it that way. Yes, so I haven't yet. I'd like to come across it like she did.
You know my little yellow flowers, I don't know what were those. They're coming out brilliantly. That's really rich yellow color.
Hey.
I'll just show you.
Yeah, do.
I'll try to take the iPad over the pan. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, that looks brilliant.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
That's a good colour.
Really yellow, like nice yellow.
Nice.
Rose petals are not giving, well, they are giving a bit pinky color,
Yeah.
but not as much. And
It's-
these leaves are
you need
not
to-
giving any.
You need to dip your paintbrush in and get it on some paper to see if actually the colour is transferring or not. Because it can always look amazing in the pan, and then it's until you get the
Okay.
paper and you're like, oh, where's that
Oh,
colour
okay.
gone?
I'll bring my paintbrush and
Yeah,
paper
get
then.
grab that paintbrush. Did someone
Yeah,
say they had some turmeric?
Yeah, I have.
Who was that?
Nikki.
He. Hi, sorry. There's so many people there. I can't quite see. So, is that turmeric that you bought, or did you find it, or
Yeah.
you found it?
Yes, I bought it.
That's amazing.
No, I bought it.
You
No, I
bought
bought
it. Yeah. Fair enough. That will bring out an amazing colour.
I was wondering about mixing it with the onion skin, but I'm going to do the onion skin on So
Yeah, I would do the onion skin separately and the turmeric separately because they will both bring out a brilliant colour.
yes. I forgot to put the vinegar and salt in with the onions.
Oh, that's all right. You can pop it in whenever, really.
Yeah, I just promised it.
Do you know if something like orange peel would work?
I've never done it. Thing is, it does. Some of them do leave your hands quite stained, don't they?
Yeah.
So it might well work, you know. I always think of like if something comes off on your hands when you touch it and leaves like a bit of residue or something, then it will probably work.
It smells kind of disgusting. Is that all right?
What are you making? What is it?
I've got red cabbage, ivy berries, and lichen.
Is I mean, the cabbage might be doing that.
I think it might actually be the lichen. It's really.
I think it's also the vinegar mixed with it makes it not.
Quite
Yeah. The vinegar's not the nicest smelling.
My musk is so
Oh,
earthy that when I first started boiling it, it just sort of smells of mud.
Just gonna mute myself. I mean, I could still. Okay, sure. How are you all getting
Has
on?
anyone kept track of how long these have been boiling?
Yeah.
Keeping track.
I didn't. I put them in like sort of the same time everyone else, but I forgot to actually check what the time was. So I don't actually
That's
know
all
how
right.
long
It
they've
was
been
probably
boiling for.
around 2 o'clock-ish.
Okay, so
So
about like
put
20
mine
minutes.
on at 5 to 2.
Mm. Okay, cool. Yeah, roughly.
So
Like,
around 2 o'clock-ish.
I don't have any concept of time at the moment.
That's okay. Don't worry. At least you know roughly.
Yeah.
It's there-ish.
Be, dipping the brush in and taking little swatches.
Yeah, I have been. Just I've just done my first one. Just to see how that's going. And that's after what, 20 minutes?
Okay. With the oak, is there anything different you're meant to do with them apart from boil them?
With the what, sorry?
The oak galls.
So you can grind them up. You can add, well, some people add soda ash in it, but obviously we don't have that. You can leave it, I think, for 24 hours. That's that would be a good thing to do, and just leave it in the jar. So what have you done with it?
I've just put them in and boiled them, and
Okay.
the water looks quite brown, but the pink is coming out.
Nothing's coming out.
Not much, no.
Okay. So have you just put them in whole?
Yes.
Okay. So
Grind them up, yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe I should grind them up and then try.
Yeah, I think if you can sort of get into them and get some sort of, something out of them, that would be a good shout. And then leave them overnight. I think that would be quite good if you can. Bear with me. This is a really good book, by the way, if anybody wants some further reading on making natural ink. It's called Make Ink, A Forager's Guide to Natural Ink Making.
Yes, I've got that one. It's good.
Have you? It's brilliant, isn't it? It's yeah, I love it. It's by a guy called Jason Logan.
Story.
So yeah, if you ever want something else to get your teeth stuck into, it's a really good book. But he's got a really good recipe for ink, for making an ink with oak galls. So let me find that.
When you say grind them up, do you mean like with like a pestle and mortar, that kind
Yeah.
of thing?
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So he says, crush dried oak galls to a fine powder with a mortar and pestle or clean coffee grinder, but I imagine it will probably be a pestle and mortar. And place the powder in a large old pot. Pour 2 cups of water onto the oat gall material and soak for at least a day. Strain the solution through a coffee filter into a glass container. Have you got any iron or anything? Oh, you're on mute, lovely, sorry.
Technically, yeah, I do have iron. I have little iron pills.
Have you? So you could maybe grind one of those up.
Yeah.
Because it says add the ferrous sulfate.
Yeah.
That is because I know what pills you're talking about. I've got those as well. Yeah, so you could grind one of those up and pop that into the jar. And then if you've got any of the gum arabic, add some of that in as well. Add a few drops of that in there.
Yeah.
And then you've got your ink.
Ooh, thanks.
As easy as that.
Yeah.
If you can get into those oat galls, because they are so hard, aren't they?
Yeah.
I was so happy. That video which I sent out to you, I literally thought, right, if anyone's struggling, I'll just demonstrate what I can see in a metre. And then I looked above and I was like, oh my God, oat galls. I've been looking for those for so long.
Yeah, me too.
They're good to find. It just shows what you don't see when you're not, when you're just walking around. But as soon as you stop and actually look for things, you're like, oh, amazing.
Yeah, I'm curious with this turmeric because I know that it comes out bright yellow, but I did a painting in year 1 where I used natural spices and things.
Yeah.
But I painted the board with turmeric, watered down turmeric, and it looked gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And 2 days later, it had disappeared.
No way.
Yeah, it wasn't
This is
like
the thing. It's natural inks. It's
yeah. Do they have longevity? No. Yeah.
well, I know the ink. When you make ink with the oak galls, I think it can work further and further into the paper, as in it will keep eating away at the paper. So
That's really interesting in its own right, really.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the turmeric's more like a paste, I would say.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
They keep running like almost dry. Should I just keep adding water?
Yeah, definitely add more water. And maybe turn it down as well, because you don't want it to a boil. You just want it to a really light simmer,
Okay.
I've been definitely boiling mine.
Yeah. I mean, depending how much water you've got in there, but,
Where did you manage to find so many acorns?
Hey?
I'm wondering, I'm not sure who it was who had the oat galls now, where they managed to find them.
There are some, I didn't actually find them, my mum did when she was on a walk, because I mentioned I was doing this, but there's like a little plantation of young oak trees, and they're just teeming with oat galls, so she found all the ones that she could.
And she could reach them, obviously, because that's the other thing, isn't it? You're real tease if they're
really
all the way up the tree.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. It made me think that I might go and look, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've got oaks, but they've definitely had younger trees. Go and see what I can find. I'm going to try the seaweed now.
Oh, cool.
No, it won't. It won't, but you would if it does, because there's plenty of it.
You ideally want the things you foraged at the end to be like as broken down as possible, like a mush.
Yeah, ideally. And you just want it to be, you don't want loads of liquid left in your pan either. You want it to be as reduced down as possible.
Yeah.
And, if there's like any sap in the bark, like you want that to have been worked out. Things like that, because it would make it into a thicker ink. You're sort of working all the goodness out of whatever you've foraged into your ink. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm. So if I show you what's going on here, I don't know if you can see. Don't know if you can see that. It's not steaming up, but I've got 4 things going on. But they are creating some sort of colour, so that's nice. They've all had about half an hour now, so.
What's gum arabic and what does it do?
So, gum arabic. Oh, there you go. That's gum arabic here, and it sort of binds the pigment to the water that you extract from your, you know, the pigment that you're extracting from your foraged items. So, and it helps thicken up your ink as well. So it's not just a complete watery substance. So obviously the more gum arabic you add, the thicker it's going to get. So it's quite, I don't know if you can tell, it's quite gloopy. Not too gloopy. But yeah, you only need to add about a teaspoon. But yeah, it just helps bind it all together, really. Yeah, the more you add, the thicker it will be. But for like a watercolor ink, it's perfect just to add into it. It's made originally from seaweed, I believe, so it's a real natural ingredient. So perfect for making something completely sustainable and completely natural, just to add into it. There are other things that you can get as well, but this is the most natural ingredient out there that you can just add into it.
Okay, does it matter if we don't have it at the moment?
No, it doesn't matter. It just helps. I have used them without it. It's just really watery. And yeah, I would just put maybe a little bit of extra salt in there just to help preserve it. But yeah, I mean, if you did want to get some and you wanted to maybe make more ink or something, it costs about £7.
Okay.
And I don't know if did you get the link of what I sent to you guys before?
Yeah, I think I was like someone dropped out and that's why I got added quite late.
Yeah, no worries.
I saw it today, but
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, I mean, I always order mine off of Amazon Prime, just so you know it's quite easily accessible, sort of thing. And it's £7 on there, but you can buy it, like local art shops will sell it as well. And you know, I only get it in like little bottles, and it will last me for a really long time. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
Right.
I was going to say, yeah, if we don't have gum arabic, you said about salt, but are there any other alternatives? I have like some art liquid fluid. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if that would do anything.
Yeah, not really for the same use that the gum arabic does, because it acts as a thickener. It's like a thickening agent. So the salt just helps preserve the ink. That's all that does. So if you want something to act as a thickening agent, then gum arabic is what you need, really.
If it's for thickening, I know this is probably like a really stupid thing to say, but like corn flour or something, like a very small amount of it.
Make it quite gloopy, and it could probably start clumping in parts. I mean, up to you. It's because obviously you can use this like gum arabic for like fountain pens and things like that. So you can use this ink in so many ways. It can sort of be really versatile once you start adding gum arabic to it. But if you start adding things like cornstarch into it, I think that could go down a whole different route. If you're just using it for painting with, obviously, and if you are getting other textures in there from the cornstarch and things like that, like corn flour, then and you don't mind, then that's that's your thing. That's absolutely fine. But if you want like a really fluid ink, then I wouldn't go down that route if I were you.
All right, thanks.
No worries. So has anyone started painting any of their inks onto their paper yet? Yeah, are any looking any good? Yeah, can I have a look?
It's still wet. So I don't want like it to run everywhere. But I found some rose hips, and
Ooh.
I smushed them up, and it's sort of like you can't really see it so well, but it's like a pinky brown.
Yeah,
Sort of like a reddy brown.
nice.
Which is nice, yeah. The other ones I haven't had much luck with because they've either been a bit too pale or my moss one was brown, but I'm like 90% sure that was just like the earth that came off the moss. So I'm trying my chestnuts now.
The ones that you're not sure about, have you thrown them away or are they still going?
No, I haven't thrown them away, but I've only got 2 pots. So
Yeah.
I decided I put them to one side in like a container thing.
Cool.
And I try something else for
Yeah.
a little bit.
That sounds good. Because you can just leave them to soak, and then when your other ones are done, you can pop them back on and just leave them going for maybe like another hour or so, and then soak overnight or something, and you never know. You might get an amazing colour from it.
Yeah.
Ella,
Yes.
you know, in lily flowers, there are seeds inside.
Yeah.
They have very strong color. I kept them, and I can't find the box now.
Oh,
Because I kept them from my last bouquet. My husband got me a flower bouquet, and I just kept. I can't find them. I also kept all the flowers from there. Yeah. So, but would they work? Do they work? Have you
I
tried
think
them?
so, yeah. If they've got a strong colour to it,
Yes. Yeah. Because if it goes on some fabric, it's hard to
it
take it off.
stains it, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
You never know, you might find it.
Yeah. I think next time I'll try it.
Yeah, and you can always come back to this. This is it. You can always do this like whenever you like and just come back and sort of experiment further and just keep going with it.
Yes. And also, can we get color from soil or rocks, local rocks, the same way?
Rocks I've never tried just because I don't know if you can, I don't know just how much pigment you'd get out of it. Metal, yes. But soil, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. But no, rocks I've never tried.
Okay. And if I want to convert these inks into fabric color, like which can go on fabric, So what do I add in them, or they're not suitable for fabric?
So what do you mean? How? So to screen print with, or to dye
No.
with?
No. Just like natural dyeing on fabric.
So the dyeing of fabric. So these are now inks ready to sort of paint with. So what you would do to dye these with fabrics is you would you'd put your fabric in with everything while you're dyeing it.
Like in this boiling water. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's a good idea.
it's a different method, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
So these are now ready to sort of paint with, whereas let's say you had loads of onion skins, you would put your fabric in with the onion skins, with salt, is it a mordant? I haven't dyed fabric for a really long time, but yeah, there are so you work around it differently.
And let it boil with them, or let it cook with them for an hour. Yeah,
well, as long as you deem necessary, and you just constantly stir it so it's getting a really good all over colour.
I think if you can soak your fabric in soy milk first, which acts as a mordant, and then if you dye your fabric, it holds better. It's a bit of a weird one.
Sorry?
In soya milk?
Soya milk. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And there's probably like less natural ways of doing it, but I know that's the way you can do it with like food.
Okay, thank you.
It's grind up.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Tamsin, that looks great. They look awesome. Little cabbage, yeah, awesome.
If you use like burnt bits of wood, like lumps of charcoal, would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I used like a burnt piece of wood yesterday, but it wasn't burnt enough, I don't think. So I just got I got this sort of colour.
Huh.
But yeah, so I think if it was burnt more, it would be awesome. So yeah, definitely that would be really good. The only thing is when you like squeeze it out into the jar, it can just be a little bit fiddly to do that bit. But it's so doable, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, seaweed's not really doing anything at all.
No. How long
Besides
has it been on
smelling.
there for, Nikki?
Huh?
Has it been on
I
for?
suppose not all the time, no. I mean, there's a tiny bit coming out, that's to be fair. So I'll just keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, if it's only been on for like 20 minutes, it probably won't have a lot of colour anyway, but keep it on for at least an hour until you know if there's going to be anything at all.
Sure. Trouble is, when you put more water with it again, it dilutes it more. So it seemingly isn't as dark a colour as it was like at 50 minutes because I put more water with it.
Yeah, you just need to sort of have that happy sort of medium. It's about getting that right amount of water and the right amount of time, and keeping it going. If you feel like, you know, there's more to go, like if you haven't had much more colour and pigment extracted from it, then I would put more water in just to see if you can push it some more. And just see how it goes. But if you feel, you know, that over the last I don't know, 20 minutes or so, it's quite strong and you're not going to get any more from it, then maybe that is as far as it's going to get.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'd just be curious to know if the turmeric does make it, I mean, the salt and vinegar does make the turmeric more light fast. Interesting to see.
Sorry, makes it what? Sorry?
If the salt and the vinegar will make it more light fast. Yeah, interesting to see.
The salt will just preserve it, so it won't change the colour or anything.
No, not the colour, the light fastness.
Right, okay. Who knows? It's all a bit of trial and error. It will change. It will do different things with the different things that you foraged, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
This red onion skin has already dyed my spoon like completely.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So what's the colour looking like?
Very well in the pan. It's very kind of purpley.
Yeah.
And then it's really interesting when I put it on the page. It kind of looks red and then it fades over a long time to kind of brown. But it's getting more pigmented.
Oh.
I'll maybe send a picture.
It's exciting. That's brilliant. So that's the rose hip, Juliet.
Yeah, the top one is the sort of like more orangey one.
Yeah, nice. And then what's the one underneath it?
That is chestnuts and lichen, which is sort of, it's sort of just sort of browny at the moment. I'm sort of waiting to see what happens with that one a bit more.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Would you guys mind emailing me over at the end of this workshop your photographs of your finished process of like how you've all got on? Would you mind at all?
Yeah, sure.
Is that all right? Just then I can see how you've all sort of got on. This is this workshop goes hand in hand perfectly. I'm doing my master's in graphic design, and I'm doing it all on natural inks. And this is like perfect. And if I can sort of just say, oh look, this is just really good for my research. If that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just really interesting to see how everyone else is getting on and what you're finding, and everyone does really different things, and what you've foraged and what you've come up with is just like everyone deals with it very differently. So I don't know, I think it's really cool. Are you all enjoying it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It like.
I
Really,
look forward to finding some better things.
Yeah. What were you saying, sorry? Yeah.
I was just saying, it really feels like that spot for me as a kid when you're like making witches potions.
Yeah.
Like it kind of hits.
Does
that
feel
kind of
like
spot
that.
for me, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to make perfume out of rose petals when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Same. I used to do it with lavender though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really lovely, isn't it?
It never really used to smell of anything though, did it? Rose
Not really, no.
petal stuff.
It was really fun doing it.
We thought that it did.
Yeah. That's great. Okay, so when I don't know how you're getting on with all your inks and everything, but some of mine are pretty much there. So what I'll do is I'll show you what to do when it's all ready. All right, so I'm just going to point this down and hopefully you'll be able to see. Well, hopefully. Yeah, okay. I'm going to give this my best shot. So, take this. So what I've got is my jug here, and then a piece of cloth going over the top of it. And I'm going to spoon all the goodness of this ink into it. So it's sitting on top. It's quite a fiddly thing to do. Right, I'm just going to do half of it for now. And pop that down. And then when it's like this, you can squeeze. Be careful because it can get quite hot. But you can squeeze all of that ink out. And then when you've done that bit, you can then spoon the rest in and then keep going. This one's rather hot. It's good to take it off the heat for a little while first. And then sometimes what I do, depending how the colour's looking and how much ink I have left, either I add the gum arabic in there right away, or I can add the gum arabic and then if there's still quite a lot of ink, I can pop it back in the pan and give it like a couple of minutes left in the pan, so then it can reduce down a little bit more as well. So just see how it goes. You know, it's just all a bit of an experimentation, really. But with this one, I don't know. I'll give it a little test and see what I think with it. But whenever you guys are ready, just start doing that, and just make sure that your jars are sterilised. So if you didn't catch that earlier on in the workshop, if you just boil up some water in a pan and just dunk your jars in there first, yeah, just really quickly with a tong or something, and then you can quickly get them back out, and then they'll be nice and sterile for you. All right.
Yeah, I don't think I've got enough liquid for actually having them as inks, and the turmeric looks more like making curry.
Oh, all right.
So I might not put that in a jar.
Well, you could always add a little bit of water.
Yes.
Because you don't want to sort of waste it.
No. Yeah, seaweed haven't done much. I might have to forward you some more successful ones when I've done them.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. It's always good to see what's happened, even with the ones that aren't very successful, just so then we all know, you know, how it's all gone, you know?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do you think I should add more liquid to the beetroot one? Wait, I don't know if you can see. Oh, can't really see.
Oh, I can't see anything. absolutely depends if you know, if there is some liquid in there, then it might be good to go. Like, oh no, that looks like there's a good amount in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I've got from that one.
Okay. Cool. I think it should be alright.
My laptop is about to die, so I'll take a quick break and I'll be back in a second.
Yes, no problem at all. See you in a moment.
Okay.
Ella,
Yes.
how much gum arabic we need to put in? And
About
when
a teaspoonful.
sorry?
A teaspoonful.
Okay, and shall I put it in the pot mixture?
So I do it after I've strained it. I pop it in then.
So it's this one. I've drained it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
pop
now-
it in then. Yeah, that's perfect.
Even when it's hot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. I just wanted to show you this one. I can't, don't know if you can see it, but it paints on. The one where my finger's under, it looks a bit pinky. I don't know if you can tell, but it dries really yellow.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that. Not really.
Just a bit.
I found that I had to start using watercolor paper because testing it on like the printer paper, it just
Yeah.
made it look wet and I couldn't actually see the colours.
No, I know printer paper's really not very good. But yeah, I learnt that yesterday. I was using printer paper, which I've never used before. I thought I'll give it a go, but it's not very good at all.
Because yeah, I printed out like your thing that you attached to
Yeah.
the email. But especially like at the beginning, I was like, I really can't tell whether this
No.
has any colour or not.
It's really not very good, is it? But hey, we gave it a go.
I'm not sure if I got that workshop sheet. Did that come through today?
Yes. But don't worry, it was only to sort of draw on your inks, that's all.
Right. It looked like it had a lot of writing.
No, it didn't.
Oh, okay. Okey-doke. No worries.
It just had like how much salt have you added, and then like different times for you to paint on, like 10 minutes, 20 minutes,
Oh.
30 minutes, etc. It wasn't. I mean, I just wrote it up myself.
Lovely. Okay, thanks. Yeah, no, seaweed isn't no.
Did you say that coffee filters were also good?
Yeah, it depends how big they are, because obviously you need to be able to get all of your ink in it. So if you've got, yeah, oh, that's perfect. Yay! Yay! My sister's boyfriend works somewhere where they have a lot of those, and he nabbed quite a few. So I was like, yes.
That's very handy because they're not that.
Very handy.
My dad buys them, so I needed to wait for him to get home to find out where they were.
Yeah, that's good. But if ever you don't have any, I just use scrap bits of fabric. As long as the fabric isn't like a linen or something with loads of holes in it, then that's absolutely fine. So
yeah, I had some scrap fabric as backup, but it was all really pretty scrap fabric, so I didn't quite want to use it.
yeah, you don't want, if it's been used for something, you don't want like any dye or ink or something to come out. But yeah, I know it's always a bit dodgy if it's already been used. But oh, that's good, Tamsin. I'm glad that that something's coming out of that one. That's good.
My hedge leaves haven't gone given any color whatsoever.
No.
Yeah, so they're not the good ones, I think.
No.
It's like really no color in there. See? It's no color.
Oh.
Yeah. Never mind.
But hey, you gave it a go.
Are those the ivy leaves?
No, they're just the hedge. You know, the normal garden hedge? I just got those.
Yeah.
I should have used actually mint from my kitchen window. I think mint might have done some color.
Yes, yes. Did you try the red and green leaves, Sonia?
Sorry?
Did you try your green leaves with a tinge of red?
No, I didn't.
No.
I can do it later.
Yes, yes. I think I'll try. So.
Yes.
Super.
How's the seaweed been coming out?
No, zilcho. No, just wet paper.
Oh, that's a shame. It's a good idea, though.
Yeah. That said, the liquid in the pan has a slight tinge of green. I mean, very slight. You imagine you're having a herbal tea. Yeah. Doesn't smell very groovy, but make a nice soup, I guess.
Maybe different seaweeds will come out with different, because you get like those really vibrant red ones, don't you?
I could only find one piece of that this morning, but I'm wondering if something different, something different to put in the water, if that might kind of extract something out of it, that because it's quite leathery. So maybe like mash a food masher or something first, so it's kind of a bit more bashed. Poor seaweed, more than it normally is from the sea.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Also, I remember someone telling me alum was quite good as a sort of way of getting colour to stick out of natural things. I don't know whether that would work.
Fantastic for that.
Mm.
So yes.
That's on my list to buy when I next do an Amazon shop. Aren't there different types of alum? I seem to recall. I always seem to confuse myself and try and look into it all too deeply, and then end up not doing it.
Oh. I think I've only ever seen one type, so I don't know, Nikki. Because we've got alum at university, and that's what I use. So I can't comment if there's more than one.
No.
Because I don't have the gum Arabic, if I add it later, will I need to sort of like warm it through?
No, it should be absolutely fine. You can just sort of pop it in whenever and just give it a really good shake.
Okay, cool.
Fine. All right.
So shall I put them in jars but not put the lid on?
Yeah, whatever you've got, which is good to go, pop them in there. Absolutely.
How are you getting your photos onto the chat?
I'm taking them on my phone, and then
Yeah.
I have a Teams app on my phone, and I'm just sending them there.
Oh, you do. I've got feedback on my phone.
Yeah, so you should be added to this team. It's titled How to Make Your Own Natural Ink. And then if you tap on it, you can add to the chat.
Okay, so I'd go to photos. Example. Okay, I'll give that a go. Hey, that's amazing. Was that you, Juliet, who said about sending it via Teams, by your phone?
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. Goodness me, that is like, I've been trying to airdrop it to my iPad, laptop thing, and then find it in my downloads, and then I don't know, go to Teams and try and find it to attach it. That is amazing. Thank you. Hey.
I'm glad I gave you a shortcut.
Yeah, that's just absolutely fantastic. Sorry, just how sad, isn't it? I need to get a life.
Is it better to keep the lid off for a bit, or do you want to like close it as soon as possible? Like, do you want it to cool a bit first?
You're muted.
Oh. Oh, wait, am I muted? Or?
No, Ella, you're muted. She can't hear you.
Oh.
Sorry, it's because I was washing up and boiling the kettle and things. Thank you. Yeah, I was leaving the lids off just to
Okay.
just so that, because there's like really hot ink in the glass jars and things. But it's whatever you see necessary really. But yeah, are you all sort of finishing up near abouts, or do you think you've still got a little way to go? Or
I've strained mine.
Nice.
I'll send a picture. Actually, I'll try and just show the onion skin one once it's dried. It's just
perfect.
very nice and pigmented. It's like
Brilliant. Oh yeah, that looks great.
Yeah.
If I could just pop a feedback form into this Teams chat, would that be okay for you whenever you've got time? Just to put it in. It should only take like a minute or two, if that's okay. If that'd be all right. But with whenever, because we've only got a few minutes left now of the workshop, but whenever you're finishing up, obviously you can carry on doing this for as long as you want today. You don't need to finish now. You can carry on doing this in your own time, but I hope this has sort of given you a good insight into how you can sort of get things started with it. I think it can get quite addictive, and you can sort of keep going with it and sort of push the boundaries with it as well, which is really good. But yeah, I hope it's sort of given you like a nice springboard into the world of natural ink making. Yeah, perfect, Tamsin. Just keep going with it. But yeah, if you're happy to sort of just wind up now and sort of just start jarring up all of your lovely inks. You've all done amazingly. You've got some great colours out of this, and hopefully you can use it in your work and things. I think that'd be great. It's just a lovely, sustainable and eco-friendly way to be creating inks as well. Instead of buying them from overseas, and the damage that does to our world is horrible. So by making them ourselves is, I think, just a fantastic way. And I think it's so really lovely for the mind and soul as well to be creating them from our sort of natural elements around us. And it's just really lovely. But yeah, is there anything else that you all need to know before we sort of end the session? You're all good. Nice one. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed it. Yeah,
It's been great.
Oh, good. Well, it's not a bad way to spend a sort of rainy Tuesday.
It's been a nice afternoon.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's been lovely. No tension, just doing something, and together it's the thing to do together, because
I
on our
know.
own we do work, but it's nice to see faces and
I know,
talk
it's
and
lovely to see your faces. Very often we do workshops and nobody, no one you know, no one has the camera on or anything, so it's actually nice to see your faces.
The closest we can get to doing it all together. And just
Sorry, I'm
talking.
hiding.
Oh no, don't be silly.
Killing my internet having the video stream on.
Yeah, no, you're all right, don't worry. Well, all right, I will stop the workshop then if you guys are all happy. But if you could all email me over, I know you've all been posting in this chat, which has been absolutely amazing, so thank you so much. But if you wouldn't mind just emailing me over either your processes or your development and your final outcomes, that would be absolutely amazing. Just a quick email with some photos, that would be really great and helpful.
Ella, have you given us your email address?
Yeah, of course, I'll pop it in here.
Yes, please. Thank you.
No worries. Farmer. There you go. It's in there.
Okay, thank you.
Will you be able to share the recording with us as well?
So what? The recording's just going to pop up in our Teams chat. All right.
Oh, brilliant. That'd be fantastic.
Amazing. I'll stop that now. Stop recording.